Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to CINEMON, the show where Rose and I we are watching every single Pokemon movie, giving our thoughts, and at the end, we're going to be ranking them all.
Yes, hello, welcome. Today's film, we have just completed watching Pokemon the movie 2000.
Released in 1999.
Well, okay, so I did look into that before we started this.
Oh, okay.
Which is, it came out in 99 in Japan.
Okay.
Where, obviously, as we learned today through our watching,
watching a totally legit...
incredibly legal.
Legally purchased alleged copy of the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. That in Japan it was known as Pocket Monsters Revolution Lugia.
Mm-hmm.
But here we know it as Pokemon the movie 2000, The Power of One. And it did actually, in America, come out in the year 2000. So... before we watched, you had mentioned that you didn't really remember this one.
Yeah, this is one where, like, because I had a whole story last time. In comparison, this one, I have very little history of this one. Mm-hmm. Because, I was 3 when it came to the States, so, of course, I've got... And I don't even think I don't know if my family saw this. At the very least, my mom didn't see it because she, this time she made sure to get out of it. But like, my brothers have never said anything about it. And the only memory I have, I know I watched it when I was a kid. I remember we rented like the DVD from the library. And that would have been like, I was no older than 8. So it's been like, probably around 2 decades since the last time I saw it. And I remembered very little of this movie.
Sure. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm going to be our other end of the spectrum then, because it's interesting because I definitely remember the first movie being in theaters. I don't remember this one being in theaters. Mm-hmm. But I do remember this movie, like, perfectly vividly.
Yeah. Actually, I do think... Quick little thing. I think my brothers did see the movie because we had the Mew card in our binder. I think didn't they give this out to like?
I would have thought that would have been with the first movie, surely.
Huh? I don't don't know. We had the Mew card. That's all I know. So and I know that like with the first movie, with Detective Pikachu, and with like the Yu-Gi-Oh movie, like when you bought a ticket, you got cards.
Right, yeah. I knew that was the case as well. Mm-hmm. Surely if they were giving out cards with this movie, it would have been Lugia, though, right?
Yeah, but the Mew card is literally in the movie, so...
Yes? We'll comment on that later.
Yeah. Go ahead and get back to your story. Sorry for the interruption.
It's okay. So I remember this movie perfectly clearly because... I owned it on VHS as a child and have seen it 1,000 million times, and
you see, for all those Gen Alphas watching, there used to be these like to watch movies. We didn't like have Netflix, so we had like these boxes that we had to slide into another box, and to watch it, we had to rewind it. You know the thing that those Stranger Kids things did.
All right. I didn't want to talk down to children because I think people like way over assume kids don't know what VHS is. I think most of them do.
I think they do too. I'm just being a dick.
But so I had seen this movie a lot, and I think I still have the VHS to this day. I think it's still just at my mom's house. But because of that, my opinions going into this movie were like, well, I'm not going to be able to judge it fairly because even more so than Mewtwo Strikes Back, this is my childhood, and like, I adore it kind of for that reason. But so how did you like it?
Well, I let my opinion out a little bit when we were actually watching it, but
well, yeah.
I actually enjoyed this one a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Sure.
And I guess, spoilers ahead, I don't know if this is a controversial opinion, but I think this is better than the first movie.
I'll tell you what, I'll weigh in on that conversation.
Yeah. There's parts that the first movie does better, but I think as an overall package, I think this movie is better.
Sure. I think I'll weigh in on that part of the conversation at the end when I've sort of sorted through all of my feelings by way of this podcast.
Yeah. Because what other reason is there to do a podcast?
Yeah, exactly. So...
I guess, shall we go into the...
yeah.
Shall we go through our treatment of the movie?
I suppose so. There's no big preamble for this one.
Yeah.
We don't have 20 minutes of history with Pokemon as a franchise to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. So, this movie starts off, it starts off, like, in the island, like, where it's actually, like, isn't it, like, reading off the legend on the tablets?
Yeah. So, It's very interesting to me how this movie starts in comparison to...
the first movie?
Yeah, because very similar to the first movie, it's a good while before we are introduced to Ash and company. We see more of the world building fleshed out first.
Yeah. It has like a cold open for like the antagonists.
Right, exactly. And how that starts is him reading off this legend that is God, I should know this. Disturb not the harmony of fire, ice, and lightning. I don't remember.
Yeah, my mind's drawing a blank on it. I remember
something wreak havoc on the world in which they clash. But the song alone shall fail, lest the world will turn to ash. Something like that.
Yeah,
that's the important bits.
Yeah. And then we suddenly, because like the one like it's like this little like this shrine. Going on, and there's like the Slow King is out there.
Yeah,
and then suddenly, we transition into like this treasure room, this treasury, which is homed to like typical finely dressed talking villain who plays chess.
This guy doesn't have a name.
yeah. I honestly can't remember his name for the life of me.
Oh, because it's not said.
You know what?
Well, he's not given one.
Yeah.
I know, because I know too much about Pokemon the movie 2000, that if you go onto Wikipedia, someone's going to tell you, well, actually, his name is Lawrence the Third. Nowhere in the movie is this stated.
You guessed that name. That's not his name.
That is 100%.
I'm saying whoever wrote that on Wikipedia guessed it. They're like, this looks like a Lawrence the Third.
Lawrence the Third.
Well, you know what? He reminds me a lot of Jean Roget from Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, so I'm going to call him Roget this entire time. Don't worry, we'll get to that when we watch that, not on the podcast.
Yeah.
Unless you want us to.
Don't worry, that once we're done with the Pokemon movies, we'll just continue this podcast to all other 4Kids media.
Yeah.
I've actually thought about doing bonus episodes where we watch the 3 Yu-Gi-Oh! Movies.
I'd honestly be up for that.
Yeah.
Watch the 3 Yu-Gi-Oh! Movies. Watched, like, the TV episodes that they pretended were movies. Like, they just, like, put the last 3 episodes of Cubics on a DVD and call it Cubics the Movie.
Right.
Anyway, this villain is just so interesting that I'd rather talk about other things.
Yeah, that's... Okay, so here's the thing, right? We both like this movie.
Yeah.
We can also both agree that this antagonist is kind of...
He has a strong start, I'll say.
He has a strong start, and he has a really strong aesthetic.
Yeah.
That makes me want to like him.
Yeah.
And then he has no personality whatsoever.
Again, it is just, I am a chess-playing evil guy.
Yeah, that's...
But so speaking of aesthetics, so after he declares like, "Ooh, I'm going to capture the 3 legendary birds," and then it's like, and then I'll have the real bit of my collection, and we zoom out.
Yes.
Like he goes up this CGI elevator. This I'm pretty sure it's the same model that would later be used as the joint in Big Top Burger.
No one is going to get that reference.
Watch Big Top Burger. It's good.
Big Top Burger. Watch Big Top Burger. It's really good.
Yeah, they need our promotion.
worthy kids definitely needs our assistance.
Yeah.
But yeah, a very clearly computer rendered
elevator that spins around. It's like a merry-go-round. Like it spins.
Okay, so this is the thing. The villain himself is not interesting to talk about. But
his fortresses.
Yeah, his fucking everything else is. And I love this elevator, which is his like big like techno villainy Eggman chair sort of thing.
Yeah.
But how it ascends upward is by spinning on its center, so he himself is spinning around like, as he goes like 200 feet into the air through his like Sistine Chapel.
Yeah, I forgot they have like the
Renaissance painting on the ceiling.
On the ceiling, it's got like the Beauty and the Beast ceiling. Like this,
it's so good. This is the thing, right? This is actually one of the things that people don't like about this movie because. Of course, I've talked to people about their opinions on Pokemon 2000.
I mean, what else is there to talk about when we're on the water cooler?
Yeah. But, like, one of the things people don't like is, like, oh, the villain is really, like, not fleshed out. And I almost want to disagree, simply because, like, his personality is not in any of his dialogue.
Yeah.
It is purely in, like, the construction of things around him.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of those actions or speak louder than words.
And this man's... Okay, so he goes up into the Sistine Chapel ceiling and then brings up his 3D render 1999 computer holographic projection to plot out his like very intense game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses that he's playing.
His very intense game of. I mean, he's just capturing Pokemon. Is he really any worse than the trainers?
You could almost go that route, and this movie doesn't. Okay, that's another thing. We have to set the tone for this movie going forward a little bit. We got into like really deep, interesting philosophical conversations during the first Pokemon movie because it lends itself to that.
Yeah.
Because it's wanting to have like philosophical discussions about like
life, identity.
Yeah.
Dogfighting apparently as well.
Yeah, right. About violence, about what makes someone who they are, the nature of humanity, even to some extent. Pokemon the 2000 is not concerned with any of this in the slightest.
Oh no.
This is a movie that does not.
This movie doesn't have themes.
No, it kind of doesn't. I kind of love that about it. That it doesn't have themes. It just has cool shit that happens.
Yeah, but anyway, we're gonna get out of this opening scene eventually. I swear.
Cool. Speaking of cool shit that happens.
Oh yeah.
He goes through the ceiling. He activates his computer panel. He plays 4-piece chess to. He immediately captures. No, he doesn't immediately capture, but he's headed toward what he calls Fire Island to capture Moltres.
But we have to do this huge sweeping shot of his ship, which is rendered in the most beautiful 1999 2000s. CGI.
And viewers at home who are definitely an age where this is going to be a relevant reference, if you've ever played a series of computer games called Siberia, if you don't get that joke, pretend I said Myst.
Yeah. And if you don't get that joke, pretend she said something like Skibbity Toilet.
I think Skibbity Toilet might actually be a little... Anyway. Okay, but his big CGI air fortress?
Yeah, that has like it's like a big circle. It's a big circular thing. It's not a sphere or
no.
It's like a giant circle that has like propellers every few feet.
Right.
All of like it's just surrounded by propellers, and it's got like telescopes and like cannons attached to it. Like this is straight up something you'd fight in a Toho or like a Japanese shoot 'em up game.
I would attribute the design of this thing to something like Laputa Castle in the Sky, But I think making artistic illusions at all is not within the spirit of Pokemon the Movie 2000, a movie concerned with nothing. That's harsh.
This movie doesn't have themes, but it has art.
It has art. That's true.
Yeah.
It's I can't express to you how insane this thing is. It's just these like giant protrusions of red iron scaffolding out to, like you described, propellers around its circumference, and in the center is this giant, like, marble fortress dome thing.
Yeah. I'll say, it's a really cool set piece. Like, I could see this being a $200, like, model to build.
Yeah. That's gonna be the theme of Pokemon 2000 this is an awesome set piece.
Yeah.
And then after we've spent a good amount of time taking in just how cool this CGI air fortress looks, Moltres flies out from behind. I think before Moltres flies out,
like he shoots ice and he shoots ice out and freezes, and then Moltres bursts out of the ice and comes charging toward. Which again, it's a really cool setup for the scene. Like that's a great introduction.
It is a great introduction to have like. I like him being the instigator because he's drawing out Moltres by freezing Fire Island.
Yeah.
And Moltres breathes fire at his ship, and they have this very
He throws out these metallic circles that electrocute Moltres that eventually do capture. And I'll say Moltres, like, things that'll traumatize children is like Moltres just like screaming as it is being captured. And then like what like it eventually like it envelops and like it has like a energy sphere around it, and it brings him into the collection room, and Moltres is just thrashing around and shooting fire and screaming for its life.
It absolutely is, and I think it's definitely a pointed choice that these legendaries are not doing the usual Pokemon thing of just like saying Moltres or whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's just kind of screaming the way a bird would.
Yeah.
If you tried to like really hold it tightly in your hands or encapsulate it in I don't know, energized disc capture system that your air fortress has.
Yeah. And then then I think he says something. I think he says like, "This will be like this is the first to my collection.
Yeah,
the rest will be mine." Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
And then
I don't think he cackles to himself. He might give a very villainy smile.
Villainy smile. Does he at least do like a chuckle, like a
Yeah, he might.
Okay. Again, this villain is just so interesting.
He really
that I can't remember a single thing he does. But I remember his fortress quite well.
Yeah, that's his fortress is a better character than him.
Honestly, this villain is the embodiment of the kid who was totally boring, but he had the latest game console at his house, so you always wanted to go over.
Oh man, that's harsh. Okay. So with all of that established, with all of the cool, interesting intrigue and all of that, we then cut to Ash and friends on a boat.
On a boat with a girl.
Okay, so
we should probably go over just again for those who don't know. This is the Orange Islands arc.
Okay, right. I completely forgot. I wanted to talk about this at the beginning.
Yeah.
I might even edit around so that we do. But, so, right, I wanted to talk a bit about where this movie takes place in Pokemon.
Yeah. This is relevant. I think we can keep it here.
Yeah, okay. So, as the keeper of all knowledge of the Pokemon anime generations 1 through 3, this movie takes place during the Adventures in the Orange Islands arc of Pokemon, which, if you're not familiar with the show, is a filler arc.
Is a filler arc where Brock takes a vacation.
Do you know why that happened?
If I remember vaguely, because I remember I caught it on a hotel TV once. But I think it's like it's like he's going off like they find like these researcher girls and they're like, we need your help.
So never mind. I was more asking for like production reasons why Brock is just not in this season for some reason.
Oh. Okay,
because I don't know. I don't know why they made the decision to remove one of the main 3 characters.
Yeah, I've heard the rumor that it's because like it had something to do with race. Because but it's like
I heard that too, but also that feels like something that's very nebulous.
Yeah,
I've never seen any confirmation of that.
That's very Muse under the truck.
But regardless, it's. I do know that the reason that Brock is not there is because he kind of a little bit falls in love with Professor Ivy. But more on than just hanging out with Professor Ivy, also sees that Ivy has a like Pokemon sanctuary that she's kind of built on the Orange Islands and like is very much focused around breeding, which was always Brock's big thing. Mm-hmm. So there is like pretty good character reason as to why he's staying there. I just don't understand from a show running sense why they removed one of their like main cast. Right. And especially why after removing one of their main cast, who they've inserted is a man named Tracy Sketchit.
I thought his last name was just Sketch.
No, that would almost be better. No, his name is Tracy Sketchit.
Like, I could ask if he had like was born in the same hospital as Todd Snap.
Tracy is not anything. As a character, he's just like, sort of like a guy who hangs out with Ash during this season. And he's a Pokemon sketch artist, which, like, I don't know, to use Yu-Gi-Oh! As a point of reference, like, when Chumley in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, by the way, this is a conversation that absolutely people other than us listening to this podcast are gonna follow through with.
Right.
But when Chumley in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX wanted to be an artist.
Yeah.
There's actually what feels like in-universe reasons for that, because the card game exists in-universe.
Yeah, so like it's like, hey, someone, it's, well, again, this is a little bit apples to oranges, but yeah, like, there's art on the card, so someone wanting to do, like, someone being into aspects of the game, of Duel Monsters other than the car, other than like the actual game. Like, I like to draw them, I like to collect them, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so Tracy being a Pokemon sketch artist?
Like, I could see that in concept. It's just, at least, again, I've not watched too many episodes of the Orange Island arc. You'd probably know better than me.
I've watched the whole thing. I don't remember it being really that explained why he's into this. It's just sort of his thing.
Well, does he, beyond that, do they do anything with it?
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know. Does he have is there an episode where he like meets a famous artist and is
no,
is like starstruck, or
no?
Is there an episode where he like tries to seek out like a beautiful thing to draw, or like there's a Pokemon he's always wanted to draw, so he'll always try to seek him out?
Maybe if that's there, I don't remember it.
Yeah,
and ultimately, what he ends up doing is just helping Professor Oak with his research at the end of this arc. So I don't know. Tracy is
he doesn't even. He's basically just doing an internship. It has nothing to do with drawing.
Kind of. I think maybe I'm totally forgetting this because this is a filler arc that I watched like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. But I think maybe he is eventually, some of his drawings end up getting used for the Pokedex entries? Maybe? That feels like a stretch.
I mean, people can correct us in the comments if they want.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
All those big Tracy fans that are definitely going to flame us for all the harsh things we're saying.
It's not like Tracy being like everyone hating Tracy was kind of a meme going around.
No, you don't understand. Tracy is the best character, and you can tell he is because of his green shirt and red headband, and that's actually more of a description of his character than him being an artist.
Honestly.
Especially in this movie. He doesn't have a sketch pad out in this movie.
Only in the credits and like the very opening sequence.
Okay.
Honestly, I think we've talked more about Tracy than then our talk about Tracy has lasted longer than his screen time in this movie.
It has. I don't know why we spent that long talking about Tracy. But the Orange Islands, the big part of it is just like, because Ash's arc in the Indigo League was kind of done, but Pokemon Gen 2 video games were not going to release for another year, I think. And certainly, like, any plans for the Johto anime were still quite a ways out. They just sort of send him to this other region where he travels around these different islands and gets involved in their Pokemon League and wins. That's right. Did you know Ash won a Pokemon League before X, Y, and Z? Your friend that told you that that's the first time that happened was lying.
Well, you know, he lost in X, Y, and Z. He didn't win until Sun and Moon.
Oh, and then good lord.
Yeah.
Anyways, people saying that it took however many generations. No, he actually wins in Orange Islands.
Yeah.
It's just that no one cares.
Yeah, it was a filler episode, so it has a filler arc. It doesn't count.
Yeah. So the fact that it's a filler arc and it doesn't count truly makes me wonder, why is there a movie in this filler arc?
Because as we come to find out, they wanted to do a movie for every season.
Every season, every year. Yeah, they sure would do that.
Yeah.
Because this is only 1 year after Mewtwo Strikes Back and 1 year before Spell of the Unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Still, though, it lends itself to a lot of questions that are never answered at the beginning of this movie. For example, in the Orange Island arc, something we mentioned while watching this movie, how Ash usually travels around is on a Lapras that he captures kind of right at the beginning of that arc. In this movie, they are on a
boat.
Yeah, they're on like a boat, like a speedboat.
And there's this girl with like she's got like a backwards anchor hat, and she's like wearing a crop top.
Yeah,
and she's got green hair.
And I don't know who she is or where she comes from.
You've watched every episode of the Orange Island arc.
Yeah,
and does she is she even like a background character?
No,
they're just on this boat. No fam. Not even like the narrator comes in and he's like, Ash and friends are off on another adventure, but little they knew this adventure will be his greatest. There's no explanation like Ash is hanging out with this girl because they're letting him drink or something.
Yeah. Yeah, when I watched this movie as a kid, I eventually realized like, oh, this is from like this part of the show where Tracy is. Uh-huh. I'm sure this girl is just a character from there, and that's why there's no explanation. No, I've watched every episode of Orange Islands. This woman doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't even think they say her name.
Nope.
Like they might say it once.
No, but you're giving this movie so much credit. No one in this movie is named.
Yeah,
other than like Ash, Misty, Professor,
and we can't spoil who's going to show up in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're on a boat. Ash, as you do.
Yeah, Ash, Misty, who, and what?
Yeah. All of your favorite Pokemon characters. Ash, Misty, and who?
Yeah. And, I'll say what is also really cool is that when they zoom in on the boat, Pikachu is like they're already kind of setting up sort of like how the Pokemon are feeling about the events going on, because this intro does take place after the cold open where Moltres is captured.
That's correct.
And Pikachu is immediately he's on the end of the boat and he looks pissed.
Pikachu is straight up doing the Gunbusters, or if you're less informed, oh Christ, what's the name of the anime?
He's
Gurren Lagann.
Yeah,
standing on like the front bow of the ship, arms crossed, like almost glaring stalwartly into the distance.
If he had a cape, it would be flowing. Yeah.
And
so I'll say that's actually a good bit of subtle setup. So
yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
And I guess
they decide to they're like, wow, it's a beautiful day. And Tracy, one of his few contributions, one of the few times anyone actually talks to him in this movie, is he's just like, hey, can we let out the Pokemon? Sure. We won't be at our destination for another hour.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, lady, that we totally know.
Yeah, woman who is definitely named.
Yeah.
And so they decide to just let all their Pokemon out to play around in the water for a bit, and that gives us our opening titles.
I'm going to return to old ground that we talked about when we were when we ranked the Pokemon intros. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't recorded. So this will be new. This will be a new discussion for the people at home.
Yeah, but, for the people at home, in case you're wondering what we do with our lives on a on a Friday night when things really get out of hand, is that we make tier list of every single Pokemon intro.
Yeah.
English Pokemon intro.
Of course.
Because who do you think we are?
Yeah, listen, I love Get to Bon Bon as much as the next guy, but... But come on.
Is it anywhere good as Battle Cry Stand Up from Pokemon Galactic Battles? I argue no.
Yeah, anyway. But, so speaking of which, the original Pokemon theme, Gotta Catch 'Em All,
yes,
is
iconic.
Yeah, it is ageless. Okay,
you know what? Yeah, genuinely.
In some ways, it is part of the era, but it still sounds good today. It doesn't sound like everyone who knows something about Pokemon knows this theme song. Even people who were who didn't grow up with the first season of the anime, they know that intro.
Yeah, and we've. I've seen this happen in... You know what a good comparison is? This feels... This will be a brief aside for the sake of storytelling.
We've done none of those so far.
My brother once told me a story about he briefly for a time worked at a company that was headquartered in Japan. And on a business trip, just spent a week there for one reason or another. And he said that one thing he remembered happening is he went to a karaoke bar with some of the coworkers that were there, just after whatever event they were doing. And one dude in the middle of the night decided to sing the Dragon Ball Z theme, Shala Head Shala. And he said, he had never seen such a thing because, men, Japanese salarymen in their 30s, however many drinks in, all stood up to sing along as if it was the national anthem.
Yeah.
To which I countered... You could probably get the same thing to happen if you went to any college bar today and started singing, I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was.
You could...
Everyone knows that.
You could play... I didn't even go further than college bar. You could play that at a wedding and people would get it. Grandma would be standing up and going to catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause.
But obviously, the only reason we're talking about that Catch 'Em All is because
of what followed it.
Because the Orange Islands arc opens with its new opening. So you want to be a master of Pokemon? Do you have the skills to be number one?
I'll admit, I love Pokemon. I think Pokemon World is still kind of a bop. I think it's still a bop. But man, is it so much more it is so much how you do, fellow kids.
It's almost not even how do you do, fellow kids, because that would be assuming that children today, current children, are the people who this genre is.
Oh, I'm talking about children of the 90s.
Okay, that's fair.
Back when everything had to have a rap song.
Right. It is the most. Pokemon World,
which
is the name of the song we're talking about,
is
the most instantly dated. You think the Poke Rap is very dated and a artifact from Pokemon being what it was in the 90s. Pokemon World is so much even more than that, and I kind of love it for that reason.
Yeah. And I will say, I actually do think the chorus is actually the we all live in a Pokemon world. Pokemon, I wanna be the greatest master of them all.
But this is a movie, so we don't open with the actual version that...
No, we don't.
The anime opened with, because we open with our, of course, 2000s... techno remix.
Oh my god.
Because even Pokemon World was not dated enough. For this movie.
Yeah, they really. This is even more dated than like the new metal like dollar store Evanescence cover there was of the song.
Yeah, it truly like the like almost drum and bassy beat that it comes in with, the bass line that is just so like painfully 2000s. The auto-tune on the chorus. Oh, my heart.
It doesn't the auto-tune not come until like the very end?
It is. It's like, I wanna be the greatest, and then auto-tune is on Master of them all. It's so like beautifully cheesy.
I love it.
I love it so much.
But if you play this for your kids, they will be like, I don't know this guy.
Yeah, who? Children that have existed in the world for like 3 years are already like, I want to be the very best. You play this, it's just like who?
You're like. I'm sorry. You try to play this. Sorry, but your 12-year-old nephew's not going to think you're cool.
That's fine. I don't want him thinking that.
But yeah. So then after that absolute bop,
after the greatest 2000 mid
a song.
I'm gonna say mid 2000.
Nah, this is
mid the year 2000 remix.
It's so great that God Himself brings forth the storm that he once that he told Noah about, and tries to kill them all.
Oh Lord. Okay, so that doesn't actually happen. A storm does occur. Yeah. That's the main thing that happens.
That's my headcanon, though.
It's God trying to end the Pokemon World 2000 remix.
Yeah.
So a big storm comes in, it starts churning up the waves of the ocean, and they're like, oh, we gotta head toward this island in the distance, which definitely the island is named. The girl driving the boat's not named, Lawrence III isn't named. The island does have a name, I just don't remember what it is.
We'll call it, let's see, there's Fire, Ice, and Lightning Island, and then I guess we can call this one Orange Island.
Okay, you'd think that, but I swear to God, it's something, it's not, it almost sounds like Shibuya. It's not Shibuya, because Shibuya's in the middle of Tokyo.
Yeah.
But it's, whatever.
Yeah.
Main Island.
Yeah.
The one. That they pull into the harbor and are immediately met by
the island natives.
The island natives who
now let's just get this out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
We are white. So
I hope people have watched the movie because okay, please, hey, for the record.
You can watch the movie before. In fact, I'd encourage watching the movie before you watch this podcast.
We're not gonna. I don't think we're gonna recommend all the movies. 2000 you should watch though. 2000's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna have to go ahead and say we're both too we're both too white.
Yeah.
People.
We may be trans, but we are.
Right, that doesn't give us the pass for all discrimination, and I don't really know if we can make a statement on the garb of these natives.
Right, but it is very. How did you describe? Like,
it's like Aboriginal Oceania, so it looks something like a native Australian sort of vibe to it. Is what I get.
Yeah, and they've got the big bird masks. And
they have like big bird masks and furs, and I don't really know how else to describe it. They're not, thankfully, like
they're not like making noises.
Yeah, they're not really making like whooping noises or any other like horrible racist caricature they could be doing.
They don't really have any like face paint on or anything.
They don't
have tattoos.
If there's one thing that I can maybe say is maybe this is not like respectful portrayal of like another culture or anything, is that when they take off the masks they are all white.
Yeah. Except for the grandpa.
Nah, even he is
like his skin is like
Okay, but he's not an indigenous Australian.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Right.
Anyway, this is a lot of conversation that neither of us are equipped to actually have.
Right. Just to say that,
so we're gonna skirt past it.
Yeah. We were a little weirded out.
It gave like a little bit of, is this okay?
Yeah.
I don't think it is necessarily a portrayal that's bad. Maybe it plays into a harmful stereotype, and I'm just not aware of it. I don't know.
But on the other hand,
I'm white.
But on the other, if any other Aboriginals or anything saw this and felt seen, good for you.
Honestly, yeah. I don't know what the takeaway is from this.
Yeah, but that'll be someone else's conclusion.
Yeah, that's for someone else to figure out.
Yeah. Anyway,
the point is they are approached by these island natives with this very kind of festive garb that they are initially maybe a little weirded out by, just because it's not familiar to them.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually they are approached by a woman who takes off her mask and is apparently friends with unnamed boat girl.
Yeah.
Yet another instance of just
wait. And this is the one part that this is the part where this would be the perfect moment to oh, hey, Becky, it's you.
Oh man, she might actually.
This would be the one instance where they would say her name.
So I know the native woman's name is Carol. I know that's mentioned.
Okay.
It is said.
Then you remember more than I do.
I caught it. I don't know if it's mentioned in this scene. Someone might say a name in this scene. I don't know. So many people in this movie just kind of exist.
Yeah.
And just are who they are.
But you know who does have a name?
We'll talk about her.
Okay.
But she approaches Boat Girl and is like, oh, hey, it's good to see you again. You're just in time. The island is about to have I think they literally just call it Legend Day Festival.
Yeah, Legend Day Festival.
Whatever, some festival they're having. She's like, oh, cool, that's my favorite holiday. And she asks, are you gonna be playing the song this year? And Carol says, no, I'm too old to be the maiden, so my little sister, Melody, is going to fill in. Mm-hmm. And then she gestures to a woman kind of standing up above the levee of the harbor. A woman who is not in any of this traditional festive garb, but is instead simply dressed as you would expect a teenager in the late 90s to look.
She was wearing a pink
she has a pink camisole, some jeans. Kind of these really cool shades.
So the sunglasses, the shades, and then what hat's she wearing?
I don't know hat styles.
Right, but she is wearing a hat.
Yeah.
She's
wearing a cool hat.
Yeah, it is a very cool hat. And she's just like she might as well have had a flip cell phone.
Oh, I was saying, it's kind of jarring after these people are introduced. And granted, I think it's pretty clear that the way they are dressed is for the festival.
Yeah,
it's just their garb for that.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it really funny to then cut to Melody, who's just dressed like a normal girl.
Yeah.
The first impression of Melody is that she's kind of
that she's not into any of this.
She's kind of aloof. She's kind of, I don't want to say bratty, but is kind of just oh, fine, I guess I'll get involved with the traditions of our people or whatever.
Yeah. Let me just first post this to Twitter.
Yeah. A little bit, yeah. But she apparently gets interested in seeing the cute boy Ash Ketchum.
Yeah.
Who is now standing.
Yeah. I forgot. No, because we have to include this. They ask Boat Girl so who are these people with you? And she's like, oh, this is Ash. He's a Pokemon trainer. And then they're like, oh, good, a Pokemon trainer is here, because the legend foretold a Pokemon trainer will come.
Yeah.
And I will also note, they do not introduce Misty or Tracy.
They don't introduce Misty or Tracy, which is very important. But they are like, oh, this boy's a Pokemon trainer? Well, then he's the chosen one for our ceremony. And Ash is like, what are you talking about, you strange old man?
And then Melody is immediately like, she jumps down and is like, well, let me give you our welcome kiss or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, immediately starts flirting with Ash.
Yeah.
Flirting is actually maybe underselling it. Like you said, like, walks up and kisses him on the cheek.
Yeah.
Like, is immediately, like, strangely, like, romantically aggressive.
Yeah.
Which seems to irk Misty. This is an interesting thing about this movie. And it only comes up like 2 or 3 times.
It's the one thing Misty has in this movie.
It's the one thing Misty has in this movie. This movie really leans into kind of
Ash and Misty
as a romantic thing.
Yeah, which to be fair, like, okay, maybe the show didn't do it too much. It did it here and there.
Okay, so...
But, like, I know supplementary material would. Like, I remember, like, the Pokemon Christmas Bash Christmas album sung by the voice actors.
That's amazing that you know about that and I don't.
It's something... Look, Eric Stewart... They were going to hire sound-alikes. Eric Stewart fought to get the actual actors in on it.
I love 4Kids so much. Of course, okay, that makes sense why you know this and I don't. Is because I know about the actual Pokemon anime because I've seen it. You know this because it's deep 4Kids lore.
Yeah. Because the 4Kids voice actors are my heroes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Lisa Ortiz is very nice and very sweet.
Yeah, she is. Lisa, if you're listening.
Yeah. Also, Eric Stewart. Hi. You signed my Blue Eyes White Dragon card. You were also really cool.
Yeah, Lisa Ortiz, if you're listening, thank you very much for signing my boxed physical copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006.
Also, if
it's my favorite object that I own.
Yeah. Also, if any of you would like to come on as guest stars, we are open.
Okay. For the record. Just so we know the level of actual notoriety and whatever we have on the internet, we are recording this the day after the first episode posted.
Yeah.
I think that video has 13 views. I don't think we're getting guests for this one, Joe. Maybe.
I don't know. Listen.
Look, by episode 15, who knows?
An NB can dream.
Yeah. So, what in the hell were we talking about?
Okay,
we're talking about Lisa Ortiz. So, Melody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think. Go ahead. Talk about the plot. I'm going to look that up and verify it.
Okay, so. I was talking about Ash and Misty. That's what I was talking about. So, as the person who has seen the entirety of Misty's stay on the Pokemon anime up through the first 2 generations, the show I almost think it's a matter of the dub plays that up more than the actual show does.
That would make sense. Oh, it is actually not Lisa Ortiz voiced in Melody. It is Amy Birnbaum.
Okay. Neat. Apologies.
Yeah.
There are very fleeting moments in the show where any sort of romantic anything will be acknowledged. One example of this is the infamous is underselling it, but the episode of Pokemon known as Beauty and the Beach.
Oh, yeah.
Which is beyond the scope of this podcast.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk about Beauty and the Beach any more than mentioning its name.
But yeah, but the point is, like, in the Pokemon Christmas Bash album, like they have a scene where they're like at a Christmas party and Misty is like flirting with Ash.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
The only other times where it's like I can see that being a thing in the show is, I don't remember the name of the episode, but there is an episode involving oddly enough, also involving a festival that's going on, but is being haunted by ghost Pokemon. This is notably the episode, if people are familiar with, where Brock falls in love with a ghost.
Yeah.
In that same episode, there's not really too much going on between Ash and Misty, but in the sort of final scene, we see Misty for the festival, like, in yukata with her hair down, looking very cute, and we can kind of see a blush on Ash's face. Uh-huh. So, okay, there's something. And the only other big thing I can point to which I know is a dub edition, and I don't think is in the original, is way at the end of Pokemon like Johto, at the end of like
Master Quest?
Yeah, at the end of Master Quest, when Misty says goodbye, they have this like song that she sings and like a montage of like moments of the two together, I guess, that points more toward that. Anyways, this movie seems to also be pushing that a lot harder than the show ever did, though. And by this movie, I mean Melody.
Yeah.
Because Melody almost doesn't... Melody doesn't even seem to be so much vying to be a romantic interest for Ash, so much as she is vying to be romantic rival to Misty.
Yeah, she immediately like looks over to like Misty, is like, "Oh, are you his sister? No. Well, then you must be his girlfriend." And she says, "Ew, gross."
Yeah, Misty being, I guess, tsundere?
Yeah.
Which that's what weird to say about Misty, because Misty to me never read as tsundere. Misty has the soon part, but there's not really a dere part to Misty.
Yeah.
Because for most of the series, she's not really in love with Ash. But sure, fine.
But right.
So
Trust me, there are Ash and Misty shippers in the who will fight to swear that it happens. And I just say, Serena was a better love interest.
Okay, great, cool. My favorite love interest with Ash is whichever anime was airing on television when I was 13. I think that's the best one for Ash. So... Yeah, you think you chose violence by saying Serena. No, I can go way harder.
Yeah.
In similar opinion, the best Pokemon game is the newest one when I was 10. So...
Yeah.
I say that. I was born in 97. My favorite Pokemon game probably is still Sapphire. Sorry. Anyways, Pokemon the movie 2000 fails the Bechdel test, and then and then immediately afterwards they're like, "Oh, well, the festival is happening. You should come with us because we're about to like hold a banquet or something, I guess."
Yeah.
Join us for this. And Ash is still kind of hesitant, and the old man is like, "Oh, don't worry about it, kid. This is all just for the tourists."
Yeah. I do like that moment.
I do too. And then we get a few shots of the festival, which
I think this is another like weird like kind of what culture are you appropriating here?
The festival looks kind of just like a traditional Japanese festival.
And they have like a Gyarados Chinese dragon going on.
Yeah, which is, I guess that makes sense for Gyarados' design, but then, why is there like a Chinese dragon style parade thing happening in this festival?
And there's also like, there's like the tiki statues and all that, so...
Are there tiki statues?
There are.
That, if there are like... totems, because that's a whole nother...
totem poles.
That's a whole nother culture.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
okay. Man, if you think that cultural soup is weird, for the record, I noticed during the banquet when they have their banquet is like bowls of fruit, fried chicken, which is what Misty's eating.
Fried chicken with like a bow tie on it.
That's a thing I've seen in anime before, so I assume that's somewhat normal in Japan, but it's definitely fried chicken. And like... I swear to God there's pizza on their table in some shots. I don't know what their culture is.
You get pizza, well I get whatever it is I'm holding.
Solid Yu-Gi-Oh! GX reference.
Watch Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Watch Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Watch Pokemon the Movie 2000. Listen to the rest of this podcast. Stop listening to our podcast. Go watch all 100, however many episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Yeah.
And then watch it dubbed. I don't care what Karina Farrick says. Watch it dubbed.
Anyway, okay, so this does lead into the scene where I certainly hoped you liked Melody in some casual clothing.
because it's fully gone.
Yeah, because she comes out in like the usual like traditional garb, and it is a really good design.
It's a really good design. She has this like long translucent veil she's wearing.
Yeah.
And I think like flowers in her hair.
Mm-hmm. She's got like a hat, like a little like I think something that the veil I assume is attached to, like on her head.
Yeah. And she comes out playing a very unique looking instrument. Mm-hmm. That's sort of like a.
I mean, it's kind of like an ocarina.
A little bit. and I know why you're saying that.
Uh-huh.
But it's like not a conch shell. I forget what you call this kind of shell.
Uh-huh.
I don't know much about shells. Maybe it's a nautilus. Maybe I don't know what a nautilus is.
I first I thought you were going to say I don't know much about music.
I don't know much about music. So, but it's like a kind of like a hollowed out shell with 4 finger holes on one side and
a little dial that you turn, I guess you call it.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no musical equivalent for that. That's just straight up made up, to my knowledge. I don't know. I'm sure some. I was gonna say like, oh, it's gonna be some Aboriginal instrument that I don't know about, but I actually did see kind of some. Maybe Aboriginal instruments, like the sticks they were hitting together and stuff, looked maybe like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, point is, she's playing this like hollowed out shell instrument, and she plays a melody, which will be familiar to us at this point because I think I forgot to mention it's already played 2 times in this movie.
Yeah.
So I think this is then our good segue to talk about the music.
Yeah.
This movie.
I was just actually thinking that, like, man, we haven't talked about the music, and the music in this movie, and there's a lot of good scenes. Like, I'll say, even like in the opening scene, like, just it has a thing that I absolutely love when motion pictures, movies, TV shows, and all that. Is when like the music is synced up with the visuals. Mm-hmm. What is happening in the visuals is reflected with the music. Mm-hmm. There is like, and there'll be better examples of this later, but like it has a very like almost sort of like Spielberg sort of quality where it's like very wondrous and adventurous, and like but also kind of daring and full of danger. But there's that. But then there's also is again this what we find later we'll figure out is Lugia's song,
right?
Is
so there's actually we would actually, if you're paying attention, and I know I am. We actually already associate this melody with Lugia by this point in the story.
Right, because there's like a shadow of Lugia, like...
Okay, so we need to backpedal a bit because we forgot to mention it. Right at the end of this intro sequence, after the collector, nameless collector, named Lawrence III, captures Moltres, there's a shot of like this undersea current, some like very dark, hard to make out, murky CG thing, and we can see what looks like a large Pokemon, which is obviously Lugia, swimming through it, and there is... If I were to hazard a guess, I assume this is like sampled whale song that is playing this melody of do 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 do, and that's kind of all we get of it.
And I'll say it's a really like well done, like the dark colors and like the silhouette of Lugia. It looks great.
It looks really good.
Yeah, like that's another thing. I bring out for the most part, barring the CGI shots and the a lot more like they reuse a lot more shots in this movie than the first movie. At least a lot more noticeable ones. Sure. This movie does have really good cinematography.
I think it does too.
Yeah.
But music is what we're currently talking about. And so the first time we hear that melody is actually right at the beginning, before we even get the opening narration. It plays sort of over the collector reading off this legend. Yeah. Then we also hear Lugia kind of sing it through this whale song sort of sound. And then now it is brought to like full attention to the audience because Melody is on stage with this instrument playing Lugia's theme. Which is, if there's nothing else people take away from this, if you don't want to go and watch this like 80-minute movie, just go listen to the song on YouTube. That's worth your time. Yeah. I love this song.
Yeah, this song is very beautiful.
I love this song so much that I have, and Joe knows about this because we live together. Yeah. On our sort of media and collectibles shelf downstairs, I have an ocarina that I purchased at OhioCon 2017 that is in the shape of Melody's instrument from this movie and is a 10-hole ocarina, which if you know anything about ocarinas, is a terrible thing to do. But that means it has just enough range to play Lugia's theme.
Yeah, didn't he like come with a card that teaches that like has like
yes,
the
absolutely.
That's
oh god,
yeah.
I love it so much.
Yeah, like see, yeah. Speaking of, it's like we got that. When are we going to be getting again the giant model of the collector's ship? Like
yeah, give me Lawrence III's ship, please.
Please.
Can I get a Lego set of it?
Yes. Wait, no, it's Mega Bloks just the sets for Pokemon. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. All right. So back to the actual movie. Melody is playing the song on stage. And it's one of the things I find fascinating about this movie is, especially in comparison to Mewtwo Strikes Back, there's not really a lot of dialogue in this movie.
Yeah.
And this is a scene that kind of exemplifies that like, this is just kind of a scene of this woman, a girl on stage playing this song, and people are at this banquet watching it happen, and that's just kind of the scene.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and it's totally just focused on her doing this song and doing this kind of dance on stage.
Yeah. And then after it's done, she like hops down and is like, "All right, Ash, are you ready to?" Because I will say this is also the thing of like where like she Ash is like, "I wonder what part I'll play in the festival."
Yeah,
and then she comes down and she tells about the legend about how Ash has to gather like these these three orbs from the different island. The three spheres is actually what they're called.
I don't know if they're given a proper name.
It's
of,
like
relics.
It's like fires. They're called like treasures or something, but they're like. The fire sphere, the ice sphere, and the lightning sphere.
Right, exactly. From the three islands that are around the main island.
Yeah.
I believe Melody straight up just calls them glass balls.
Yeah. As she is picking up an orange pear. And
she picks up like fruit from the table to demonstrate that. And it's like, you just get one of these from each of the islands, and then you bring them back here, and then I play the song, and it's done, and everyone celebrates.
Yeah.
And Ash, of course, being Ash, is like, all right, I'm ready to go set off on my adventure.
And Melody is just like, oh, come on, that's not until tomorrow. Let's party for the rest of tonight. And he's like, no!
Ash, I think I mentioned this while we were watching the movie. Ash is at his most 10 years old in this moment, because truly he's like, oh, I have an adventure to go on, I'm gonna go do that. And literally other people are like, nah, just stay and rest and have fun. We can do all that tomorrow. No, I gotta go do it now.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Like,
even though it's like it's like already like the sun has already set.
Yeah.
No, I gotta go out and go do that.
Yeah, Ash has no interest in girls.
So he just
gets the heck out of there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Girl.
Yeah, okay, so what actually does happen is that Pikachu...
Should I look up her name?
No, it's going to be funnier if we just call her Boat Girl.
I almost feel bad for looking up Lawrence III's name.
Yeah.
I feel like I wish I didn't know that.
Yeah, but anyways, so Pikachu, like, grabs Ash's hat, and this is how I said this before, like, Pokemon are breathing very strangely. Has the Professor Oak scene happened yet?
No.
Okay.
I believe it is the next scene.
Right, okay. So Pikachu is acting really weird. He like literally grabs Ash's hat and starts just running and starts going, Pika Pika! And like leads Ash down towards the shore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the boat girl's like, here, I'll take you as well.
Yeah. And they head off toward the Lightning Island?
No, the Fire Island.
Fire Island,
yeah.
Yes, is the first one they go to.
Yeah.
I got confused for reasons.
Yeah.
As he's going off to do that, then is when we cut back to
Palatown.
Yeah, we cut to somewhere else entirely, which is Palatown, and we know it's Palatown because we see
Ash's mom.
Ash's mom is named in this movie, but the boat girl.
Yeah.
Because Ash's mom is like working in her garden with
Delilah,
her Mr. Mime.
I think is her name. Delia.
Delia, I believe is how Professor Oak pronounces it.
Yeah, but he's like, "Hello, Delia. How are you doing today?"
Yeah. So she's gardening with her Mr. Mime. Professor Oak comes up on a bike.
Yes, I love Professor Oak on a bike. You know what? Good on a man at his age still getting exercise.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. I mean, that's
as he.
That's weird to say, but like people I know that age who are that active, biking is usually what they do.
Yeah.
So sure, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just out riding his bike, and oh, good morning, and she makes some comment about like, oh, it's such a lovely day today, and Professor's like, well, that's right, it's these days where the sun is shining almost all the time, and as soon as he says that, these massive storm clouds come in from over the horizon, and the sky darkens, and suddenly a huge rainstorm hits him.
And then after that, it lasts for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'll say, Mr. Mime, who is also with Ash's mom, he is efficient because he immediately, like, before the rain even comes, he has an umbrella at the ready.
Yep.
But yeah, after the rain passes, then snow happens.
Right. Then all of a sudden it starts snowing, and
then
I think Ash's mom is like, but it's not.
It's summer.
It's summer, and there's an interesting artistic decision in this movie of when she's saying, but it's summer. It's like a picture of a like fully ripe tomato in her garden.
Yeah,
that bits of snow are falling on, and that is a moment of like, yeah, it's like if she's harvesting tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's the middle of summer.
Yeah. That's like...
There's snow falling, and
then...
in the middle of this snowfall, a herd of diglets.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the herd of diglets. Well, maybe this happens afterwards.
Okay, it does. I know what you're thinking.
Okay.
a herd of diglets pass by that pick up Professor Oak's bike and drag it, like... I swear to God, like 3 feet forward, and he like jumps off of it fully and grabs onto the like fence in front of Delia's garden as they pass by.
Yeah,
I don't know why he does it like that, but okay.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that's like a GIF that people have used. So.
Probably,
yeah. And then after that, we get an Aurora Borealis.
Yeah, there's...
Which, I'll say, I was expecting this to, like, show up more in the movie. This is the one time... This is the only scene it happens, but there's just an Aurora Borealis at this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within Palatown.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if it's ever stated... Well, it is stated. Palatown is in the Kanto region, which was Japan.
Yeah.
So, like, there shouldn't be northern lights. Yeah, just this strange weather phenomenon, and then there are flocks of flying Pokemon going past, and other Pokemon, like, walking by. Just, like, herds and herds of them going past, and both Professor Oak and Ash's mom are like, that's... weird, what's going on?
And then I think Oak says, there must be something going on with these weird weather patterns because the Pokemon can sense it, because they're more in tune with nature than us humans.
Sure. And I think that's all we get of that scene before cutting back to
Ash and
Boat Girl.
Boat Girl.
We totally forgot to mention Team Rocket.
Yeah, Team Rocket is in this movie, and like they're at the beginning, like with like in their little like Magikarp submarine that gets wrecked during this first storm, and now they're just scooting without a roof, like they're pedaling without a roof.
Yeah,
and then I think then the boat zooms past and they're like, it's the twerp.
Yeah. So Team Rocket.
And,
earlier before, it doesn't super matter. Team Rocket was falling around in the submarine.
Although, as we'll come to find, this is actually one of the movies that uses Team Rocket the best.
True. But at the beginning, it's just Team Rocket has been following Ash around. During the Orange Islands arc, they're following around in this submarine that's shaped like a Magikarp.
Yeah.
I think their submarine gets attacked by a school of Magikarp.
Yeah.
I think that's the correct word.
Yeah, it is a school of fish.
Did you know that, I forget where I learned this, but somewhere someone told me that a group of Pikachu is called a mischief?
That makes total sense.
It does. I don't know why it exists, though.
Yeah. But, so, like, the ship the boat starts, going through, and even though the storm stops, like, the waves are still very aggressive, and eventually the ship, crash the boat. It's not a ship. It's a boat.
Right. So the boat is approaching.
At best, it's a yacht.
It's not a yacht. It's a boat.
Yeah.
So their motorboat is approaching Fire Island, and these waves are tossing it around, throwing it into the air, and at one point it hits a rock near the edge of the island that breaks the rudder off.
Yeah.
And all of this eventually gets the boat on shore, but fully beached.
Yeah. And then Pikachu immediately just gets off and darts up some stairs where Ash then chases after, and she's just like, wait, we shouldn't separate the storm. And Ash is like, no, I gotta figure out what Pikachu's up to.
It's important. I have a journey to go on.
And then...
Who are you?
Yeah, and no, okay, so this is pretty much when the boat girl exits the... Well, she's got one more scene, but then she just sits down in the boat and starts eating.
Yeah, she just kind of sits down for tea. She's done.
Yeah.
We're done with her.
So chasing after them behind...
Right, behind them...
is Melody, Misty, and some other guy.
Yeah, who?
Yeah.
But Melody and Misty, and no one else, are behind them in...
Also, Misty suddenly has a pink jacket, and it looks... It's nice.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Sure. Are behind them in a similarly like a speedboat.
Yeah.
And the Melody is driving. How old is Melody?
I assume
10.
But like at the oldest, maybe 12 or 13. At the absolute oldest,
she can already drive a boat.
And I'll say this is also Team Rocket is hitched on the back of this boat because it's important for later.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. And they are that's basically like she's like, oh, I've been around boats this whole time, my
whole life.
Yeah, and she rides the wave.
Yeah, she shoots a wave as if the boat is a surfboard. It's so insane.
Team Rocket fall off, but Melody, Misty, and some other guy are just hanging on.
And yeah, they're getting through all of it, and I don't know, Melody and Misty have another exchange where, like you said, Melody's like, oh, I've been around boats my whole life, so there's no reason to be scared. And Misty's like, oh, I never get scared around the ocean. I come from a water Pokemon gym after all, which is yet again somehow Yu-Gi-Oh!
Pokemon.
Christ. It's somehow Yu-Gi-Oh!
Pokemon!
I'm fine. Is somehow still Pokemon failing the Bechdel test. Because even though they don't mention Ash, I can tell somehow this conversation is still catty.
Yeah.
Anyways, they have that exchange, and then even though Melody is handling the waves a lot better, the ocean is just getting too rough, and they are also thrown up on shore next to other girl's boat.
Yeah, like I said, she's just eating, and then
who's just sat down for tea, but she feels a tide come in and goes up to see what happened, and Melody, Misty, and whoever are also beached, but on a tall rock formation.
Yeah,
they can't get off of.
Right.
Except
the
greatest thing in this movie.
God,
I don't know how to begin.
I will say this. The way I remembered this movie, because this is the one thing I did remember this movie from when I watched it 20 years ago, was this scene. And in my head it was this is a special boat that has wings or something.
No. So what she does is she pulls some lever at the boat's console or something, and that causes a panel at the front to open and a big sail to come out the top of it.
It's a sailboat.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's a speedboat, but it has a sail on it.
Right.
And then she
steers
the sail so that she can fly the boat off of this rock and up the stairs.
Yeah, I think in one of them literally comments wait, this can fly, and she's like, if you know how to steer.
Well,
Hey, for any boat enthusiasts in the comments,
can you fly your boat? I would love to see someone fly a fucking full-on motorboat that they just have attached a sail to.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing special about this boat. It just has a sail.
It just has a sail.
And she's flying it. She flies it up through the air, onto the stairs, and then up the stairs.
Yeah, like
and over a mountain.
It's bumping the staircase and sustaining no damage. Like this is like some speed running techniques. Like
I don't know what this is.
I love
that. Here's the thing. This is maybe the purest essence of Pokemon the Movie 2000, which is Pokemon the Movie 2000 really wants to be a cool, action-packed adventure.
Yeah.
And it will do that at any cost.
Yeah. The first movie wanted to be something meaningful. It wanted to be like a Disney movie. This one wants to be a fun, action-packed adventure.
Yeah, and it just, in pursuit of being action-adventure, it does not even stop to consider the logic of anything happening at any point in time.
And you know what? I'm here for it.
Me too.
But,
So, as the boat is flying up the stairs...
Yeah.
We see Ash and Pikachu headed up towards this shrine?
Yeah, it's a shrine.
Yeah, the shrine that is kind of shaped like Moltres and is holding one of these glass spheres in its beak.
Yeah. So Ash gets it out, and it has like, I'll say it is like a kind of a cool effect where it has like little fire thing going through it.
Yeah.
And then that's when Team Rocket show up.
Team Rocket!
And I'll say I actually did laugh at this joke where they're like, prepare for trouble, we're on the big screen. Ash just interrupts and says, I'll catch you on video!
Yeah. I'll have to catch this on video.
And just, and it's like, oh, but like luck is on our side. Oh, I think they make like a pun about like, oh, our ship is sailing well. And that's when Melody's boat comes in from behind.
Yeah, as soon as they're like, oh, ship is finally sailed.
Yes!
In flies a boat. And Melody and Misty crash down in front. And they're just like, hey, Ash, are you doing okay? And Ash is like, holy fucking shit. How did you fly a boat? Anyways, he's actually just like, yeah, I'm good. I just got the first one. And then Melody and Misty bicker again.
Yeah.
I guess it's mostly Melody again, like creating a love triangle where one does not exist again.
Yeah.
And maybe my favorite exchange in the movie happens afterward, which is they do whatever they do some straight girl shit. And then...
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. Ash just kind of looks between them and is like, what's going on? And on the ground, after they've just been hit by a boat, are Team Rocket, and Jesse just kind of lazily sits up and is like, listen, kid, take it from me, getting involved with the opposite sex is nothing but trouble.
Oh.
To which James responds like, oh, I agree, that's why I never even bother with it. And then Meowth, who, as we discussed in the last episode, voiced by the late great Maddie Blaustein, a transgender woman, says, "Yous twos don't need the opposite sex because yous got each other."
Yeah. God, that was...
To anyone who has ever, anyone who whatever thought they had about just how queer Team Rocket are being, oh my god, that exchange is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I still don't know what Team Rocket are, but there's no way they're straight.
Yeah, they ain't straight.
So, after Team Rocket are done saying trans rights...
trans rights, that's right!
Zapdos suddenly flies in and is
very aggressively
kind of taking over the area of the island,
and literally is attacking some of them.
Yeah.
And then I'll say this is the first moment where Team Rocket contributes something to the plot,
because Pikachu gets up on top of the boat and is sending an electric current out at Zapdos that looks kind of like it's attacking it. But Meowth explains to everyone else there, oh no, he's actually trying to speak to Zapdos and saying, what are you doing here? This is Fire Island. Shouldn't you be back on Lightning Island?
Where's Moltres? And
Zapdos responds, also with, lightning connection, And
he's like, I'm taking over.
Yeah, Zapdos basically says, like, Moltres has abandoned Fire Island, so now I shall rule over both lightning and fire.
And then, this movie has a lot of and thens.
This movie is kind of and then the movie.
Yeah.
Every scene in this movie is about 1 minute.
Yeah. So, and then, the collector's ship, flies
the fortress comes out of the sky, and
this time it's like square things.
Okay, so before that though, to more establish the scene, as Zapdos is like spreading out its wings and claiming dominion over Fire Island, all of these tendrils of lightning are shooting across the whole island.
Yeah, like there's like an exterior shot of the island, and you can see like all the electricity current. Again, another really good shot. All those electric currents going around. It looks beautiful. It looks like just the way it flows, the way the light reflects off them. It looks great. I love it.
And then all of those suddenly get like brought up into the sky, and then beyond the clouds, where all of the electrical currents have centered, descends the collector's ship.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. This time he sends out square energy things to capture
Zapdos.
Yes.
And then, but he also, I guess, he just captures whatever's in the vicinity as well.
Yeah, because it also grabs Melody's ship along with everyone else.
Yeah.
And brings them all up to his flying fortress deal.
Yeah. And luckily he has like a normal giant bird cage that all the humans are in.
Yeah. So
and Pikachu.
Right.
And I'll say this is another kind of thing like that I kind of love is that at this point like Zapdos is now like while these things are spinning around, Zapdos is, this time Zapdos is thrashing, screaming and shooting. Moltres has gone docile.
Yeah,
like they are just.
It's something that's like really, really striking. Is Zapdos that just was captured is like responding the same way Moltres did. Moltres is just kind of like eyes closed, just like sat down in defeat. Clearly gave up fighting.
Yeah, and it's a thing that's like again a very subtle, very very subtle kind of show don't tell sort of scene.
Yeah. And then as our heroes and Team Rocket and some guy are
dang, Tracy doesn't even get to be our heroes.
No, are stuck in this bird cage. From his Renaissance painted heavens descends our very interesting, lot of personality villain.
Which in this, I'll say, what I did know in this shot, the elevator is not CG, it's hand-drawn.
Yep. They just gave up CGing it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah. So, they descend, he descends and like, oh, you appear to be an arc. You appear to be a miss to my collection.
Yeah. He says something about like he's talking about like, look at these two new pieces I have, Moltres the bird of fire and Zapdos the bird of lightning, but obviously it's not a complete set. And
Misty responds with like...
Misty is like, that's really cruel. You're talking about them as if they're like dolls or stamps.
She literally says the words like, as something to collect.
Right. And
like,
I think she says like, what kind of trainer are you? And he's like, oh, I'm not a Pokemon trainer. I am something more of a collector. My collection once started with a new card, and now I have all this.
He literally says a Mew card.
Does he say a Mew card?
He does say a Mew card. At least that's what I heard.
I heard new, but...
yeah.
Mew would be more accurate because it's a Mew card.
Yeah, it's this like prismatic, ancient-looking Mew card.
Yeah.
Which again, people in the comments, was this the card that was given out in the movie?
I seem to remember that being given out with the first one, but anyways.
You decide.
The crap battles of history. I'm editing that out.
Yeah. All right. Anyway.
So he introduces himself, and then that's the end of his interaction with our heroes. And he goes back to his chair and presses a button and just lets them out of their birthdays.
Yes, he lets them out out.
I don't know, man.
This is
not a movie where you should be questioning people's decisions and actions.
But this is one that's beyond stupid. Listen, I'm not a big CinemaSins plot hole guy. Yeah. But this is why did you do that? This is something that this is a little beyond a villain caught in a monologue or I
guess he just doesn't care about them. He sees them as insignificant,
and then he just lets them out.
Whatever, he just lets them out because for a reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't question the plot of it. If you question the plot of this movie for a second, the whole house of cards will come down.
Right.
So just let it happen.
Yeah.
just let him release them from the birdcage. He goes up in his magic spinny chair. And then the four of them, I guess, look around his collection, which he gestures as if he's got this big room of riches, and as much as it's a very fancy marble room,
yeah,
he's basically got Zapdos, Moltres, and some stone tablet.
A stone tablet. There's some things along lined up on the walls, but it never focuses on them. So,
I don't know what the heck else is in this room. It feels really empty.
yeah, bro. I think you're just I think before you started collecting, you invested way too much in a trophy case.
Yeah. Hell of a trophy case, though.
Yeah. Oh God, it's the best trophy case. It's more interesting than the trophy.
Yes, it's more interesting than the man who owns it.
Yeah.
So while they're, I think this is when we get another cut back to Delia and Professor Oak. Because while they're stuck in the airship, it's just sort of I think we get a zoomed out shot or something of the Collector going back to his CG chessboard.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to Professor Oak and Ash's mom, who are huddled around their very 1999 computer with its very 1999 operating system
and video player.
Yeah. Video player and animated mouse.
Yeah.
Watching, I think, a news broadcast initially that's just, these strange weather phenomenon are happening all over the world and something's being caused by an underwater current that's disrupting tides and blah, 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 blah. And then they also get a video call from Professor Ivy, and Brock in the background for a bit.
Yeah. Brock is trying to handle all the out of control insane Pokemon, and that's his cameo.
And that's Brock. I hope you liked him being in this movie.
Yeah.
Professor Ivy is the Pokemon. Right? I don't know what is going on. Yeah, with Professor Ivy.
She's got some deadpan goth voice.
That's giving it a lot of credit. She just something in her inflection is off.
She's just it sounds like she just doesn't care.
Yeah. Anyways, just the Pokemon here are all acting crazy. And I seem to remember in the middle of a blizzard happening outside, a window in Professor Oak's house just shatters.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. Shit's crazy. Anyways.
Melody finds this, in the collection, you mentioned, one of them is a stone tablet, and she reads out the same kind of, poem or, legend from the beginning of the movie.
Right.
And then after that, they do look around. They see that they realize that something bad is going to happen. That this is why all the weird weather events are happening because this asshole here is capturing the legendary birds. So they decide to try and free them because again this dumbass let them out.
Yep.
And so they bring out their Ash brings out Charizard and Pikachu, and they use their attacks on the cages
this scene kind of is the first thing that's making me realize in this movie that what this movie kind of doesn't really show us a whole lot of? Ash's Pokemon. Pikachu is certainly involved.
Here's
a question. Do you know the 7 Pokemon Ash has with him at this point in the arc?
It's Pikachu, Charizard, Lapras, Bulbasaur, Squirtle. That's 5.
Yeah.
There's 2 more?
So he has Snorlax with him.
Oh yeah, Snorlax does show up briefly.
I think he's supposed to have a Dragonite. And that's not in this movie.
I don't remember that, but again,
does Ash have a Dragonite or does his opponent have a Dragonite? I don't
remember.
I think his opponent has a Dragonite.
Yeah.
I don't remember what Ash's 7th is. But this is what I mean, right? Is like...
But I'll say, what I actually would bring up, this is one of those scenes where, again, like... And this, I'm sure this is going to be a problem with, like, other movies as we keep going, where, and this movie is one of actually the less egregious examples of this, but these Pokemon movies don't know how to use the side characters a lot. Mm-hmm. Like other than Ash and Pikachu and whatever characters they introduce, mm-hmm. the other characters aren't used too often, aren't like too relevant to the plot. This is one of them that's a little bit better about that. Tracy notwithstanding.
But
I feel like this could be a scene where they are attacking. Team Rocket brings out Weezing, and Weezing starts like ramming into Zapdos's cage. And then Arbok starts using poison shot or whatever. Mm-hmm. But Tracy has a Cypher or Misty has her Pokemon. None of them, they don't bring out their Pokemon to help.
Nope. It's all Ash's Pokemon and that he sends out to start, berating against the cage that Moltres is held in. And you can kind of tell Moltres' attitude because it just sort of, creaks open one of its eye to look at, being like, oh, they're trying to break open my cage. Isn't that interesting? But, isn't really reacting to that.
Right.
Until, I guess 5 Pokemon at once hammering on this thing do eventually actually open it. They do break Moltres out.
Yeah.
Which, again, what in God's name is this collector man doing just letting them out of their cages? But fine. They break out Moltres. Moltres immediately, spreads its wings and goes into battle mode and shoots a massive fire blast at Zapdos, which frees Zapdos from its cage. And the two, blow open a hole in the wall and then fly out of the fortress and start having this huge battle between the two of them that the whole time is causing collateral damage and, breaking the propellers on the fortress and, causing a wreck out of it.
And I'll say, this is one of those scenes I would like in concept, a lot, it's a cool premise of these two legendary bones going at it, destroying this environment around them. Mm-hmm. This, I think, is where the CGI is the most dated. Because the ship has a really cool looking design. I'd love to see fan art of it or see a model of it. Mm-hmm. But this kind of barely textured, very early 2000s, barely textured CGI ship does not mesh well with the 2D animation going on.
No.
And it sticks out like a sore thumb in this scene.
I think it's unfortunate because what they are going for, this huge dynamic sweeping shot encircling this whole thing.
Yeah.
Both of the birds are moving, the camera's constantly moving, the airship's constantly moving, I can see so clearly what they are going for.
Yeah.
And I don't think they necessarily even missed the target. It is just that, the technology of this thing was just not there yet.
Yeah. And I'll say even that with, the shot composition, because it's kind of more of, we're just watching from the side. It doesn't have, I could see, if this was done today, sort of something akin to what Attack on Titan would do, where it could be a fast sweeping shot of them going through and then dodging the attacks. For those who have seen Attack on Titan, the scene with in the final season part 2 when Flock is knocked into the ocean, that scene, that beautiful looking scene.
This is going to be my favorite recurring bit in CINEMON, is going to be what other what other works we reference in this podcast while talking about Pokemon movies.
Yeah.
Because putting Pokemon the movie 2000 in the same breath as something like Attack on Titan, I feel like would cause like actual mobs to come against us. But whatever.
I mean, hey, they're all too busy finding out the ending. Hey! Anyway, so it's a scene that's really great in concept, but in execution looks a little dated. Looks pretty dated.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah. This also extends to the scene when like the ship fully it starts crashing into the mountains. Again, another one where it looks terrible. The ship
looks bad, especially because it's crashing into Ice Island, which is very like. The problem is it's very detailed 2D animation for like the backgrounds and just the like landscape of this island, and because it's all icy, it's all very like interesting texture and reflections and very colorful. So when it is then impacted by this very obviously 3D rendered like sphere bottom of the ship that falls off and breaks through the ice, like these styles don't mesh at all.
Right.
Which is unfortunate. But the point of the matter is that the ship crashes into Ice Island.
Articuno shows up
and starts also fighting alongside the other two birds as they're just going crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I tell a lie. It doesn't crash into Ice Island. It crashes
into Lightning Island that's covered in ice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, because Articuno, while Zapdos was captured, I guess decided to just rule over that island.
Yeah. And also another bad. I hate to keep harping on this, but another shot that just really looks bad is the shot where they are, as the ship kind of is crashing, our heroes are running down like the slope, and again like the ship is crashing behind them. Another scene like could look cool in concept, but again the CGI with the 2D animation just does not blend.
Can I be real with you?
Yeah.
Do you remember how they get from the crash site of the ship to the like shrine where Slowking is?
Because the crash site of the ship has. I'll say another thing we forgot to mention. Melody's boat was picked up, but then it fell off and crashed and was destroyed.
Yeah.
Which will become relevant later.
That's the thing. Okay. So I feel like. Okay, no, I think I vaguely remember what happens. I think as the ship is crashing, I think they get on the boat.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Because this leads to
So that's what happens. As the ship is crashing, Ash and company get onto Melody's boat, and I think they just fly it off of the ship.
Yeah. They just ride it down like a sled.
Yeah, exactly. Into the water and then drive toward this... I think it's back on the main island, this sort of shrine where Slowking is standing.
Uh-huh. I think this is also the scene, again, another very important scene, because right before they get onto the island, they're about to crash, and Team Rocket, who's also on the boat, decide to Temple of Doom this shit.
Yeah.
And take out the life raft. And as they are flung from the ship, they hang onto the life raft.
Yeah. And the ship kind of fully capsizes and throws everyone onto this rock outcropping on the island. It throws Team Rocket off with the life raft, and then the boat lands at the bottom of this rock shelf, and then some debris falls down and hits it and breaks the ship.
Yep.
Not the ship, the boat.
Yeah.
Anyways, have we talked about Slowking yet?
I think I mentioned that he's there in the opening, but this is when he first showed. This is when he's first fully prominent. I think he's out watching the storm at one point.
Okay, he's out watching. Here's the thing: we forgot the most important line in the movie, which is when a big snowstorm is blowing through the world, and something more important, I'm sure, is happening in another scene. And Slowking is just standing out in the snow, and a breeze goes by, and he just says, "I need pants." I love this movie.
Yeah. Honestly, this movie for all the unfunny jokes, there is a funny joke.
Yep.
Yeah. So Slowking, because I think also Slowking also will be I think he was also like, "Oh, this is not good. The balance is upset."
Yeah.
And there's also a scene like there is because I'll be honest, when I first saw Slowking talking, I thought, wait, was he the one reading off the poem in the opening scene? And you say it's the Collector. So
it's the Collector. It sounds like the Collector's voice because Slowking has kind of he has more like a dull kind of almost like Patrick Star kind of affect to his voice. Yeah, he's not stupid, but like
he's not stupid, but he
speaks slowly and in kind of a dull voice. And I definitely think it's the Collector's voice at the opening.
But yes, so our heroes meet Slowking, and he's like, he says, "Hey, I can talk."
Yeah, just walks out. Is like, "Hello, I can speak to you. Anyways, you should put the treasure over there," and points to the shrine on Angel Island from Sonic Adventure. So Ash goes up to this. I keep saying shrine. I don't know what the heck else to call this.
Yeah.
Shrine place, and there are these 3 pedestals. Each one is facing one of the different islands and has a little spot where you can put in the orb. Yep. So Ash places in the
fire orb,
and
the lightning orb.
When did he get the lightning orb?
When they were crashing down and going down, like he.
Oh yeah.
I literally know what happens is that like literally like it's like they see like the shrine that's containing it, and then a piece of debris falls on it, and it just falls out and rolls to them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
And I'll say that's kind of a shocking scene. Like I don't know, like it feels convenient, but it also was like. I kind of like that of like it's like this sacred place where this ancient orb is held just gets destroyed and the thing is just lodged out.
Yep. Right. I totally forgot he gets it through just like the convenience of being Pokemon the movie 2000.
Yeah.
So Ash then pulls out the 2 orbs, Fire and Lightning, and Slowking's like, "Oh, but you don't have the ice one yet," and Ash's like, "I've been a little busy."
He actually like calls out Ash by name. He's like,
right, he calls Ash by name. He says that, and Ash is like, "How do you know my?" All right,
how do you know my name?
Pause. How does Veronica Taylor do that voice? How?
I don't know.
No one in the world can do that voice.
I mean, she's got. Like I said, like I think Taka, the VTuber, and also DBZ, DBZ abridged, and also other like voice actor. I think he said like you just gotta do like a Bobby Hill impression, and that sort of leans into it.
I don't know, man. Okay, I'm editing all of that out.
I can talk as Ash.
Okay. No, that's not. It's not a matter of like I can't do the voice. It's more a matter of I don't think anyone could ever perfectly replicate Ash's voice.
You know what? Good for Veronica then.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the actual podcast. Ash, you already said. Ash says, "How do you know my name?"
Yeah. How do you know my name? And I think this is when the storm starts to roll in.
Yes. You know what the problem is? This movie is very exciting and cool, but I am realizing in the moment, actually recalling its events is very difficult.
Yeah, this movie is just a bunch of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
Like, there's no time to breathe.
Yes, that's correct.
Well, there are. I take that back. There are slower, like quiet scenes, but those are more like the serene, like no dialogue scenes. There isn't very many of like the characters like calming down and like relax.
Okay, so something I completely forgot about was I think it happened before here, but we can mention it around now. Is Ash's mom, Professor Oak, and Professor Ivy are flying towards these islands in a helicopter. Oak and Ivy, because they're like scientific Pokemon experts that can talk about why there seems to be this mass migration toward the Orange Islands from the Pokemon.
Yeah.
And Ash's mom is also just here.
Yeah. Well, I'll say two things. That does bring up that like they also mentioned before, like the Pokemon are like migrating, and like I love the detail where they put words like the water Pokemon are just swimming through the sea. And the flying Pokemon are going through the air, and everything else is just on at at a cliffside,
as close they can get to the island as possible, and just standing on the shore.
Yeah, which I think that's a cool detail. I think
it's cool too. Actually, yeah. It's interesting that it's just like all the Pokemon in the world are somehow being pulled to these islands, and they do not know for what reason, other than just something is going wrong.
Right. What they do explain, because like literally like there's like a news reporter there's like some news reporters on board as well, and they're like they're asking Professor Oak and Ivy the questions. Ivy is like, this is not good, and in a very
not Russian.
She's like, this is not good, and she is just very disinterested. But then it's like, so what are you doing here? It's like, well, my boy's on that island, and I'm just so worried about him. I think she's here because like she wants to make sure Ash is okay, and
like, which is fair.
Oak and Delia are close, so
right, exactly.
Yeah. What I'm wondering is, why couldn't Brock come?
I don't know. He wasn't in the budget.
Yeah.
Oak draws some sort of diagram to explain why the natural... Dude, I don't even know what's going on in that scene. I don't know what he says or what his
basically explains like how Articuno, how the three legendary birds control the weather. Where it's like, again, it's like Moltres makes light, Articuno makes rain, Zapdos helps balance them out in the ocean, and there's like some creature in the ocean.
Sure. That sounds about right.
Listen, it doesn't help that the totally legit legal copy we watched this movie on suddenly cuts. There was a scene that was cut in the dub where then there's cuts where like his explanation is just in Japanese suddenly, and there's no subtitles.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I love watching legal movies. So,
which that also leads into another scene. Because this actually happens before they break out. I know, because like the very next scene is like them in the treasure room, where they literally just cut out a scene of Tracy talking.
Yeah,
they cut out like one of the 5 lines Tracy has in this movie.
Dude, who cares? It's Tracy. So
God,
back on Ash and everyone watching what's going on. They continue to see the 3 birds fighting, and it's clearly causing things to become more disruptive, and there's a lot of... I think one of the coolest things about the ongoing fight between Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres is because it is those 3 elements fighting over an ocean, they're all like shooting beams of their respective elements out of their beaks, and it's like Articuno will freeze a path over, and then Zapdos will cut something in the ice, and then it gets frozen over again, and then Moltres melts through it, and then it's electrocuted, but then it gets frozen again.
Like they're using the elements that they represent.
They are, and it keeps... Everything keeps changing because of that, and it gives that sense of like, yes, everything is going into chaos, things are fully coming out of their natural order. And then I guess inspired by the legend,
coming out in a really cool shot, I'll say.
Yeah.
But again, I said barring this movie reuses a lot more shots than the first movie. Mm-hmm. The scene of the collector like looking over his computer is used like 5 times.
Yeah.
And again, the CGI, shots of the CGI ship mixed with the 2D animation look pretty bad. But like again, great cinematography is the scene of where Lugia,
yes,
the star of this movie, comes like flowing through the water and like comes twisting up and like just comes and appears like comes flying out of the ocean and like spreads its wings, tries to like put a stop to the fight.
Yeah, tries to put a stop to the fight.
And I'll say I also love the scene like where like Articuno freezes Lugia, and like Lugia just like lights up and breaks out of the ice.
Yeah. Like all really cool. So Lugia, not really using any beams of its own. It has sort of this like shield it's putting up around itself, but it's clearly trying to just break up the fight between the 3. Mm-hmm. And so all 3 birds decide, instead of fighting each other, they now all fight Lugia.
Yeah. This is like, congratulations, Lugia. You've broken up the fight. Now you've started a new one. Now you're the target.
And like they fight for a while, but ultimately, even though Lugia just appeared, is immediately shot down by all of them.
Like, literally is like we wrote, and we had to do this because we had to, reload, like, the totally legal way we were watching this start to lag, so we had to get another totally legal copy to watch this movie again. And so we watched this scene a few times. And
Lugia just, like, falls
he's
on a cliffside, just, like, falls down.
And is struck, but, he's struck by, their attacks.
Yeah, and he's struck by their attacks, and, like...
crashes down into the ice and
through the ice into the ocean, breaks through the ice, and then what's even more cruel is that Articuno comes down and freezes it back over. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, Jesus.
And then the three just go back to fighting.
Yeah.
None of that mattered.
And
then, I think inspired by the legend, Melody plays the song on her little shell instrument thing. And that revitalizes Lugia, who suddenly bursts back out of the ocean and also can speak English in telepathy, I guess.
Yeah, like some scenes it looks like his mouth is like moving with the lips, but like other scenes it's clearly not.
And just says like, "Oh, the song has revitalized me. Thank you very much," and whatever. I don't know. I don't remember.
I'll say it's a voice that I don't know fits. Like I always. Maybe it's because his appearance. I always picture Lugia having a more femme voice. Like
I don't know.
I always picture like a "thank you very much." Like
I don't know.
Yeah,
Lugia just has a man's voice for reasons.
Right.
Then Lugia.
Lugia then tells like, "We have to, your song alone cannot bring them. We must, we need the guidance of the chosen one."
Right.
And I love this where they prop it's like Ash is like, "We don't know about the chosen one, but who is this chosen one? We don't know it." And I think it's Melody who brings up like, "No, it's either Melody or Misty." They bring up like, "Oh no, we know who the chosen one is. The legend points to it. It says the world shall turn to ash."
Right, exactly.
I love that detail. Like,
am I wrong? That's kind of good, right?
Yeah, like
as a setup that like it says like the song alone shall fail, thus the world will turn to ash. The world turning to Ash Ketchum to save it.
Yeah,
is kind of like
that's
okay.
That's kind of a clever setup because like you would think like again like it turns because it gets all burned down.
Right.
But no, it turns to this 10-year-old boy, which I do say he says like, "How do you feel, Ash?" Like, "Well, starting to wish my mom named me Bob." And
I love this movie.
Yeah, speaking of Ash's mom, in the midst of their fight, the helicopter gets struck.
The helicopter gets struck and just crashes into a mountain on this island, like
on the other side of the cliff of them.
Yeah, and like full on helicopter crash. Like the tail of the copter has been torn off. It's smoking, and everyone on this helicopter exits perfectly fine and uninjured.
Yeah, like even like the camera crew and ever. They're all okay.
They had their tray table up and their seat in the upright position, and that will be the only time I reference Weird Al in this episode, I'm sure. So.
Yep.
They're all fine, but near the helicopter crash site is Team Rocket with their lifeboat, who I guess don't really care about the people that just left the helicopter, but see the
like the dislodged like back propeller.
Yeah, and share like a knowing look, and
I think they literally all say like, "I got a plan."
Yeah. Meanwhile, cut back to Ash, who
is going after the ice orb because he's like using like a piece, and this is where I think this scene uses his Pokemon pretty cool. Pretty well.
This is fair.
Yeah, where like he's using like a piece of the destroyed boat as like a
as a sled.
Yeah, as like a sled with Charizard flying as well as Bulbasaur and Squirtle like running across the ice, like running across the frozen river. And he's bringing. I think it's got like a very nice like rocking.
Yeah. Really cool soundtrack as he's sledding over the ocean, which has been frozen by the battle. But obviously the battle is still ongoing. Lugia and the other three birds are all still fighting, so the ice gets broken, but refrozen, but broken again. And
Charizard and like the others and Lugia try to fight them off, but they're not enough. And then like Ash crash it, like they get crashed. And I think he actually returns Charizard. And he's like, oh, and like literally, I think like they have like a little like a big like frozen wave in a way, I guess you could call it.
Yeah,
looms over them. He's like, oh, how are we gonna get there now? And then the greatest moment in I cheered when this came up.
It's
like,
so good.
Like,
because just on the horizon, you can see this boat coming towards them, and it's Team Rocket who have affixed the propeller from the helicopter to like turn their lifeboat into like a airboat, essentially.
Yeah,
like a Louisiana swamp boat that's just drifting over the
and they literally do like the prepare, like isn't it usually like they do a version of their motto.
Yeah, they do a version of their motto where it's like, oh, we're gonna be the good guys for once.
And Ash is like, what?
Yeah. What?
and then like Ash and the others, like they get on, and like Team Rocket, and I love that they literally have like, so wait, you're helping out? It's like, of course, we don't want the world to be destroyed. Even if we survive, there'll be no one else to steal from.
Yeah, we wouldn't have a job.
And it's like, speaking of which, when was the last time we took a vacation? We gotta take a permanent vacation if we don't get this done.
Right, so thus begins yet another incredible action-y scene of them driving this airboat through the ice and then onto Ice Island and like through caves.
Yeah. I'll say this is another scene that again I like a lot more. I like the colors. Like again, they're going through a cave, and like the way the silhouettes are, and like how like the use of blues is very nice, very cool. I just wish they kind of loop the same few shots.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At one part, they go over like a bridge made of ice.
Yeah,
it's just that I don't know.
Like don't
question this movie.
Yeah. But they eventually make it to the ice sphere,
right? And Ash gets out of the boat and grabs the final sphere out of the shrine. And, like, literally, I think right after that happens, the whole legendary bird fight, like, literally crashes into them. I think it's literally Articuno is, like, blasted out of the sky and, like, hits this shrine. Kind of violently?
Yeah. No, like, hits the ground, and then I think it's, like, blasted again towards the shrine, hits the shrine, and then is blasted again. Like, yeah, like it's a pretty violent looking. Like that had to hurt. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, all of that fighting is going on. Team Rocket are like, we gotta get the hell out. We gotta get the shit fuck out of here. I should curse less in these videos. We gotta get out of here.
Yeah. Listen, I know Maddie would have done in the outtakes.
God bless her.
Yeah.
So they try to escape, but the battle kind of disrupts their escape path. So Ash jumps on Lugia's back so that they can fly out of there.
Yeah, and Team Rocket, like Lugia is like, it seems like Lugia is fully intending to leave Team Rocket behind. When 100%.
It's like Lugia does not acknowledge the existence.
Like,
of Team
come
Rocket.
on, like. This is not the first time, or this is not going to be the last time we're making a Lord of the Rings reference. Ash wouldn't have gotten far about Team Rocket.
Yeah. But Team Rocket are able to grab onto Lugia's foot.
Yeah.
And then Lugia is flying Ash back toward the main island, but still in the middle of this aerial dogfight. Team Rocket are hanging on to its foot, but being like, "Oh, we're weighing it down." This is like one of them again. This is a joke that I actually think works super well, and I love it. Which is, we're too heavy. We're weighing Lugia down. Maybe we should try Weight Watchers. It's too late for that. You know, I hear it's never too late as long as you stick to the program. Incredible. Great Team Rocket writing in this movie.
And then, like, in a scene that's like, I was almost crying at this scene. Like, they're just like, I guess we should just let go.
Yeah.
And they literally they're like, ready? We're like, Ash is like Team Rocket, wait, what are you doing?
And they let go of his foot and fall down into Team Rocket's blasting off for good.
They literally say that.
They say for good.
And then they hold each other in the skydiving pose.
Yeah, as they're falling down. Do you think we did the right thing? Yes, of course we did.
And,
they say their goodbyes as they're falling down.
I think literally Meowth, what kind of it's like Meowth, they use the word dead. I
think so. 4Kids let them say dead.
They're like, what? Let's not just talk about what we're gonna do after this. Let's just say, from this moment, we're gonna die.
I think literally says that. Anyways,
but they're fine. They crash into the water. They crash into the water,
which, as we all know, breaks everyone's fall. It's Minecraft rules.
Yeah.
They crash into the freezing water and live.
Yeah. Anyways,
Lugia is bringing Ash back to the island, and fucking, of course,
the Collector's still in this movie.
The Collector. You remember how this movie had a villain? Anyways.
Yeah. It wasn't just man versus nature.
Yeah. Anyways, this dude despite the fact that his shit is wrecked.
Yeah, literally his ship is just destroyed and in pieces. He still has he still has a functional telescope. A full on you can look at outer space planets with these.
Yeah. And is oh, I'm still going to capture Lugia, my mission, and sends out triangles this time.
Yeah.
Which
let me ask a question dude, where are you going to put it? Your fortress is destroyed.
He'll rebuild or something. I don't know what this dude is doing. Anyways, sends out a bunch of triangles. Lugia is able to dispel them, but clearly expends a lot of energy in doing so. Blasts them away with some kind of... first of all, before he fights off the triangles, shoots an energy beam at the Collector.
Yeah, at the Collector.
And is just fuck you, dude.
And it's a full on big explosion. He should not be alive.
No.
And yeah, he doesn't have a piece of rubble on him.
Lugia fends off the triangles, but is still gets a lot of his energy sapped from them, and for the second time in this movie, just falls down through the sky, dead into the water.
I think Lugia even literally says, I failed.
Yeah. He does. So Lugia dies twice, and then Ash is just, left adrift in the water, and Misty is I gotta go save him.
Wait, no. What literally happens is that Melody's here, Misty, you hold on to this, and Misty's no, Ash is going to Ash is I'll go get Ash. You're the one who can play the song,
right?
And Liz, I think it's she mentions this line about how
okay, no, I remember the exact exchange now.
Okay,
is Melody hands over the instrument and says, Misty, you take this, I gotta go save Ash. Hero or not, he can't do it alone.
Yes!
Then Misty is no, you're the only one who can play the song. Besides, Ash is never really alone because he's got me.
Not us.
Not us. Who the fuck is Tracy?
Yeah.
Tracy isn't real. No, me, Misty.
Yeah.
His love interest, I guess, for this movie.
Yeah. And Tracy doesn't even, I'm right here. He doesn't even say anything about it. He's accepted his own irrelevance.
You know what? Happy for him. Anyways, so Misty then leaves, swims out into the ocean. Misty can swim in the fucking ocean, I guess.
Swim in a frozen ocean.
Sure.
Yeah.
Misty swims out into the ocean, grabs Ash, pulls him onto shore. She and Tracy kind of
dang, you already brought up Tracy. I was gonna make the joke but there's some invisible person pulling them back with a rope.
Some dude who is on the island, I don't remember his name, pulls Misty and Ash back on a rope.
That is the most of what Tracy does in this movie.
Yep.
He pulls a rope.
I swear to God, if he didn't do that, I would almost wish we went through this whole podcast and just never mentioned him. They get back Ash on shore. They get Ash back on shore, and I guess sort of wake him up. Resuscitate? They don't do like CPR or anything.
They like CPR, but she does. I think she does do like the kind of like the.
Does she? I do not remember that.
I remember her pressing against his chest.
Okay,
but I could be misremembering it.
Anyways, resuscitate Ash. Ash wakes back up from being in the middle of the ocean, and Misty is like, "Come on!" They like help him back to his feet, and then they're like, "We got to get the last thing back into the monument."
Yeah.
And I'll step aside and let Joe go on their soapbox.
Yeah. This is again another one of those scenes like which I want to like so much more, and I feel like this could have been great, especially because I feel like it ties in with the themes of It could have tied in with the themes of Pokemon. Mm-hmm. Is like Ash starts like kind of like sort of like hobbling up the stairs, and Misty and Tracy are just following behind, and it's playing like this big inspiring like Rocky music or whatever, or not Rocky but like inspire, as I said before, like almost like Spielberg sort of style music where like it is very like awestruck, like look at him go, he can do it. And this is a scene like where I really would have liked it if Ash leaned on Misty and Tracy and they carried him up the stairs. The perfect way I can because it would show that, for one, it ties into that scene earlier where Ash is never alone. He's got us, or me.
Just Misty.
Yeah, he's got just Misty, but like he has his friends with him, and this is a show that like is about friendship. It's about the bonds people make with each other, both their Pokemon and their human friends. They have a song on the soundtrack about like we're gonna be arm in arm, we'll win the fight. It's always been our dream. There's no better team. Till the end, I will be with you. We will go where our dreams come true. All the time that we have been through, you will always be my best friend.
Yeah.
But no, they just follow behind.
Nah, and like, Ash can do it on his own. This is the power of one. It's not the power of three.
Yeah.
Fuck those two.
And it's like, I know how good this scene is because it's in this really obscure indie film made by like an underground director you might have heard of. It's called Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, where if you remember, it's the scene where Frodo and Sam are like climbing up are climbing up Mount Doom, and like Frodo is just unable to move, and like Sam is just like, come on, Mr. Frodo, I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you, and he just puts him up over his back and carries him all the way back up there. And my God,
I can't believe Pokemon the movie 2000 doesn't live up to Return of the King.
Yeah, Best Picture winner, Return of the King.
Yeah,
but yeah, like because that is like a masterful scene, and it's like, man, you got so close to being able to like having a great scene that shows the bonds of these characters and them helping each other out. But no, it's just about Ash and he hobbles.
That would be putting themes into Pokemon the movie 2000, a movie which does not have them and does not care.
This movie could at least pretend to be about friendship at that.
No, this movie is about how cool being in the world of Pokemon is.
Yeah.
It's not about anything else.
But yeah, that's how I say, like, what could have been a really great scene. It could have made Misty and Tracy feel like they need to do, like they have got more of a purpose to this movie.
No.
Again, Misty just bickers Melody over Ash and pulls him ashore, and Tracy pulls a rope. Like, that's their contribution to this movie.
Well, hold on. Tracy also did say that one line in Japanese.
Yeah.
So he contributed.
Yeah. Very, very glad 4Kids left that undubbed line in their official release of this movie.
Yeah.
And as I said before, this is probably one of the movies that uses the side characters better because Team Rocket is spectacular in this movie.
Yeah.
Team Rocket, no notes. They are perfect.
Perfect in this one. Okay, so Ash places the final sphere onto the shrine, and then Melody starts playing this final triumphant rendition of Lugia's theme.
And I'll let you be on your soapbox for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the things you've talked about before is the
music.
Yeah, music syncing up with the
with the visuals. And I will say, we haven't really brought the music as much as I want to. I'll say the music, it syncs well with the visuals, and it's all, like, again, very, very grandiose. I do find trouble, like, recalling specific tracks, except for this one.
This is the one. Again, if you remember nothing else, it will be this part of the movie, which is Melody playing this song that starts on. Now, she's playing whatever instrument she's playing. I want to say in the actual soundtrack, it's I don't know if it's being played on something like an ocarina or a recorder. I would almost venture to guess that it's a Japanese wood flute, like a shakuhachi or something, that is playing Lugia's theme, that then, like, starts swelling as the environment is restored. Yes. So as she's playing it, this sort of, like, green life fluid. I don't know what it is. It looks pretty. Yeah. It emanates from the shrine. Yeah. Like, pours out from the shrine and, like, pours over the area around it that turns what are, like, ice fields into these, like, flowers. And these stone pillars around it are turned into crystal, and they start lighting up along with the notes that she's playing. And as things are building and building, this life water, sobe, pours out into the ocean and is, like, restoring everything is back to it is, and we see it even reach Lugia floating down in the water, who once again triumphantly rises back out, and just, like, harmony is finally restored, and even the, like, underground current that had been causing all of these troubles is lifted out of the ocean itself. With again, like, a big, like, rising, like, grandiose, again, I'm not the music person here, but, like, as the music is continuing to just play this melody, it's crescendoing and it keeps building, and we see all of the different Pokemon that have come from water and air, and some that have even walked off onto the ice floats. They're all gathered around to just witness this big magical moment, and it's just, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, like, it almost works as a short film. Yeah, honestly. Yeah. And as it's playing, Lugia comes up to the island and offers up his back to Ash as they fly off and just soar around a bit in celebration, I guess. Yeah. Again, I think it's kind of scenes like this that make me almost like this movie a bit more than the first movie, because like I like how this movie just is. Will let there be kind of a quiet moment where we can just listen to the soundtrack and see beautiful animation and like kind of be in the moment. I think that's probably the thing. I think this movie nails the atmosphere a lot better than the first movie. I think absolutely. Yeah. Like this, you are really kind of engrossed in this island, and you feel danger when there's danger going on, and there's a huge swelling, breathtaking sigh of relief when it's all done. Yeah, exactly. And pretty much after that, I think Lugia lands back down with Ash, and people gather around to celebrate, and from their helicopter crash site, the professors and Ash's mom show up. And Ash's mom runs up to be like, "Oh, Ash, it was so scared. You're in so much danger." And Ash is like, "Well, I had to save the world." Like, "Sorry, Mom." It's like, "Oh, I'm sure you did." But, she's like, "But," what's the line? "But if something had happened to you, I would have lost my whole world." Yeah. Aw, so sweet. Yeah. Oh, why wait, like, even more after she's just like, I think she's like, "Can you at least try to save the world closer to home?" It's like, I guess. Don't tell her that I'm going to another region in the next movie. Yeah. And then she says, like, "Just know that I love you and that every day you're my hero." That made me smile. Yeah. That's kind of sweet. That's just kind of a nice moment. Yeah. I think the only other thing that happens is Team Rocket. Well, wait, Team Rocket? Okay.
No. Before that, the collector.
Okay, yeah.
That
is actually the last thing that happens before that.
Yeah.
The collector back at his even more wrecked fortress, now that Lugia more or less blew it up.
Yeah.
Kind of just like stands up on this like ocean cliff where he is and sees on the ground a single card.
The Mew card.
Right, the Mew card, what he said was the beginning of his collection. And
he says like, and it
looks down, picks it up, and just says...
He says something along the lines of like the beginning, like collection, and shall it so be again, or something like that. Like he implies that he's going to start collecting again.
I don't
like this guy doesn't have an arc. He's not suddenly good in the end. Like
it's weird. Everything in the cinematography almost feels like this is implying that he's had a change of heart, but like what?
Yeah, like he's
like what?
He's like again like. Where my collection began, and I think he says like, and so it shall begin again.
Yeah,
like something like along those lines. And
I don't know.
And then that's the last we see of him.
That's the last we see of him. This is a maybe they were trying to do something profound, but again, this movie has no substance.
Yeah,
so it just sort of is whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then we finally see Team Rocket pulling themselves out of the water and saying like, oh, we finally did the one thing. We helped in saving the world. Too bad nobody saw it.
And then Slowking
is like, what are you talking about? Lots of people watch it happen. In fact, they're still watching it right now.
And like, he looks directly at the camera. Yeah. And then... Oh god! So you see, me making the Aurora Borealis joke was actually clever foreshadowing because they do a Simpsons gag in this at the end of this movie where it's like, wow, I guess we really are like guess we really are good guys. But what if the boss finds out? That's bad. Well, then we'll start our own team. That's good. We have no funds. That's bad. Like. A full-on like just the full-on like a full-on Simpsons reference.
It's like, pretty good.
Yeah, I will display this next. You know what? This is actually more relevant than the Minnesota Vikings reference in the first movie.
Yeah. Anyways, that's the end.
Yeah. Well,
the movie just ends.
Yeah, the movie just ends.
There's some shots during the end credits that show like, oh, Melody getting back to her family on the island, or the boat girl setting off on.
Yeah,
like,
the boat girl sets off, and also again. Ash and the gang set off on Lapras.
Right, on Lapras. Like, who is this boat girl? Where did she come from? Why is she even in this movie? None of these questions will ever be answered.
Yeah. What's most important is that the song they are playing is called the Power. It's called the Power of One.
Oh yeah, are we going to talk about Herman Cain?
Yeah, very briefly.
Okay,
very briefly. But first off, I will say, just this song also just makes me think like, man, this movie should have been called The Power of Us, because that's like friendship and united.
Maybe. Yeah.
It should have been united. It should have been that, and it should have had Misty and Tracy carry Ash up.
Well, how about Misty? I don't want Tracy being involved. I don't want Tracy touching me.
Anyway, but yeah. So the opening lyrics are like something like, "Life can be a challenge. Life can seem impossible." But there's no, like, you can't doubt when there's so much on the line. And this became infamous, which I think it was in 2012. Republican radio host running for president at the time, Herman Cain, quoted this on the debate stage by saying, "A poet once said, life can be a challenge, life can seem impossible, but it's no..." Yeah.
Man.
This man later went on to... I mean, he's a Republican talk show host. He went on to support Trump. He's a bastard who died from COVID. So fuck him. But this is always funny. This is always
damn. You really want to include that in the podcast? I'll leave that in if you want me to.
I mean,
whatever. It's not that I disagree. It's just a matter of I wouldn't be saying shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
yeah.
After that, the most important thing in the movie happens, which is we immediately get back over the end credits. There's 3 songs in this end credits. The first one is The Power of One, which is, like, sort of I call it, like, Oscar bait, like, very...
Again,
pop ballad version of the movie's main theme, the theme of Lugia.
A decade from now, a politician will quote it.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's another one at the end, which is just another generic pop ballad that is completely forgettable. And sandwiched betwixt the two, if you would believe it, is Weird Al's Pokemon.
Yeah, and it's played over footage that just does not... Like, it's just like Delia, like, just tending to the garden.
I guess just leaving us off with one final baffling choice that... It makes no sense, but I am so happy that it's here.
Honestly, I wish there was more of it. They only play like one verse from the song.
Yeah.
They like play the other songs like to their fullest, or at least it feels like it. I don't know. The last song is just kind of generic, so I honestly don't know when it began or end, when it was supposed to end. But like I have listened to Pokemon, and they only play like one verse. And man, I wish they had more, because I was immediately just like doing like the arm shuffle when that was going on, because it's like, damn, like it's funny, like when like because I don't remember, like, I mean, again, I don't remember too much about this time, but like, you know, in the last movie they had like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. Yeah. This time they got Weird Al Yankovic.
Hey man, like if that doesn't, it's interesting just how much the level of prestige and scope immediately dropped. And yet, in doing so, I think I might be ready to agree with you. I think I just like this movie more.
Yeah!
I think Pokemon the first movie gives me a lot of interesting themes and feelings that are fun to meditate on.
Right.
But
I appreciate what Pokemon the first movie is trying to be.
Yeah.
It's trying to be a lot of things.
It is trying to be a lot of things.
Maybe a little too many.
It's trying to be too many things. Like, too much for what Pokemon the movie could theoretically be. And Pokemon 2000, I guess, in its unpretentiousness...
Yeah. Well, that's weird. We can say it's unpretentious, but, like, there are, like, genuinely, like, beautiful scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
Objectively, like, again... The way, like, on the technicals of things, like, of, like, the way it's shot, the way the music syncs up. Bad CGI and reused shots aside, this movie, like, looks beautiful. And it, like, there are scenes that are, again, Lugia's song could straight up be a short film.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It's I can't believe I'm about to say this. It's on par with, like, the Circle of Life from The Lion King. Whew. But nah, like, there are, like, legit... Because the thing, this is, like, a very well done... Like, this is the best fast food restaurant you've ever been to.
Yeah! That's the best way of putting it, is, like, it's... Look, Pokemon the Movie 2000 is not a movie of substance. You're not gonna come away any better or worse for having seen it. You're not gonna
be, like, questioning life and all that. Like,
yeah, exactly. But man, if it's not just a fun ride.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
This just if this is the takeaway you get from this, find this movie, seek it out, and just enjoy the roller coaster that it is.
Yeah. I think I was actually thinking this, like, while watching the movie. It's like, this movie, way more than the first movie, like, is the perfect, just, like, sit your kid down and they will be distracted for an hour and a half. Like, this movie will keep them entertained because it is a mile a minute. Like,
it is. The pacing of this movie is kind of... You're saying it really breezes its way through. It never really settles down, and it's just sort of all action all the time, and maybe that doesn't leave room for the introspection of Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Right.
But I don't know.
I don't know, yeah.
I'm okay with it.
There's definitely things I think Mewtwo Strikes Back does better than this movie. Like, the biggest one is the antagonist. Mewtwo is a million times more interesting than the Collector or whatever his name is.
Yeah, but like, even the thing is, I think the Collector almost even stands as a good representation of what makes this movie good.
Yeah.
Because is he a compellingly written villain? No. Is he even compellingly written at all? No. Is he written? No. But everything around him, just this aesthetic that he brings, is so much fun. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I agree. That dude is the most forgettable man in the entire history of Pokemon, but you will remember his whole fortress, his treasure room, his art on his ceiling, his spinny chair elevator, and maybe that's worthwhile.
Yeah. That's the thing.
This movie it's just a blast.
And I think, again, on the same line, like, this movie also, I feel like, has a lot more, like, because it doesn't have any themes, there aren't any scenes, like, where a lot of times in Pokemon, the first movie, the biggest one being the Pokemon are meant to fight scene, where it's like, it wants to have the themes, and it's hammering those themes into you.
Yeah, exactly.
It is, over and over, they will talk about how violence is bad and like that. This movie will just sometimes let the visuals speak for themselves.
Yeah, this is a movie that is great, not because it is saying anything important, but purely just because its existence is good.
Yeah, it's just it's a fun. I think this would be the kind of movie that I think you have that. Yeah, you want to be bored, and I feel like this is the kind of film, like, where you could have some friends and watch it, and, like, you're not gonna be like you can talk the whole movie. You're not gonna miss much by talking over the dialogue.
Nope.
But if you like to, like, if you want to, like, this movie is like perfect riffing material, which makes it even all the more absurd that we did not watch this when we riffed it in high school.
Yeah,
when we riffed Pokemon movies in high school.
Yeah.
So.
I think we've covered just about all of it. Are there any closing remarks you want to leave us with in our discussion of Pokemon the movie 2000, The Power of One?
Not much really. Like I said, it's one of those, like, it's a full on it's the best fast food restaurant you've ever been to. It's a very fun movie with very little substance. And if you're up for that, if you know what you're getting into, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, I think that's about much as I can say.
So yeah,
I guess we'll see everyone next time. Is there anything you want to? We should start doing this at the end of this podcast. Is there anything you want to plug?
Things I should plug. My YouTube channel, Writing with Joe, which should be linked below. I recently, as of this recording, a couple weeks ago, I ran a panel at OhioCon 2024 where I talked about my experiences as a game master GM and gave some tips for new GMs. I recorded I recorded the panel and I put it out online. Appreciate if you appreciate if you check that out. I would also from that I also have I'm releasing a series of series of chapters that will eventually culminate into a full book on Wattpad called Bleak Winter. It's it's a bit like Stranger Things, but it takes place in December of 2001, so it touches more on, like, post 9/11 fears and things like that, and, like, how, like, also just, like, draws on the fear of how cold and, like, a drift town surrounded by mountains and that's isolated and is, like, they're giving up their security and, like, they're giving up their privacy for security and things like that, and just kind of the mysteries that come with that involve. First prologue and the first 3 chapters are out. I'm working on more chapters right now. I'd like that if you could check that out and tell me your thoughts and give me a rating.
Cool. Mm-hmm. You can also, in the description below, you'll find a link to both that. You can also find a link to my Bandcamp, where I have one song that I recorded using record samples and toys I found at the Goodwill, and also a Megalovania shitpost that my girlfriend told me to make. And I have less interesting things posted on the internet, but you can check out the rest of my YouTube channel while you're here.
Yeah.
I guess that's how we're going to wrap up. I've been Violet.
I've been Joe, and we'll see you next time for Pokemon the Movie 3.
Spell of the Unknown.
Ooh.
See you then.
See you then.